All right, so today we're going to dive into this really powerful story about karma. You know, that idea that our actions, whether they're good or bad, really do shape our destiny. It's a tale of honesty, greed, and the kind of choices we make when we're pushed right to the edge. Okay, let's get into it. What's interesting is our story doesn't even start with the hero. Nope, it kicks off with the villain. And this one single complaint from a worker, well, it tells you everything you need to know about Seth Lalchand. He's not just a boss, he's this force of greed and cunning that really gets the whole story rolling.
And this is the man whose life is about to get completely turned upside down by the Seth's greed. Let's meet Ramu, a truly honest woodcutter whose simple, content life is about to face its biggest test yet.
So, Ramu's life is all about simple values, just hard work and taking care of his family. He lives in a village called Kazganj with his wife Suman and their 2 kids. Yeah, they're poor, but he's content. The thing is, that peace is completely dependent on his job, working for the greedy Seth Lalchand.
But that contentment is pretty fragile. A final warning comes from the school teacher. The children's fees are due, and they just don't have the money. All of a sudden, Ramu's simple life is teetering on the brink of a crisis.
With absolutely no other options, Ramu has to rely on his monthly paycheck. This whole situation sets up a direct showdown with his unjust boss, a guy who basically holds Ramu's entire future in his hands.
So on payday, the workers' worst fears come true. Seth Lalchand comes up with this flimsy excuse, oh, the wood hasn't sold yet. He leaves everyone, Ramu included, completely empty-handed and just desperate.
2 days later, the Seth's injustice is just laid bare. I mean, can you believe this? After a full month of back-breaking labor, not one day off, Ramu is handed just 2,000 rupees. That's a full third less than the 3,000 he was promised. You can literally put a number on the Seth's greed now.
Ramu, he pleads with him. He tries to explain the real-world impact of this unfair pay cut. He tells him that after paying the school fees, there's going to be almost nothing left for his family to even live on. But the Seth, he is completely unmoved.
And this is the final blow. The Seth just gives him this cold ultimatum, and he knows full well that Ramu has no other options. So, trapped and defeated, Ramu is forced to accept this injustice.
Now, feeling pretty dejected but not totally broken, Ramu refuses to give up. He decides he's going to go look for some extra work. It's a simple act of just trying to persevere that, unknown to him, is about to lead to a totally life-changing encounter.
And here it is, the turning point. It's this chaotic, almost comical chain of events, right? He gets chased by buffaloes, he stumbles into a cave. It's just such an unlikely path that leads him to a magical encounter that is going to change absolutely everything.
So, inside this cave, a genie appears. And he explains that this magical place, well, it's only accessible to people with a pure heart. Because Ramu is just an inherently good person, he's earned this powerful gift. A magical basket with this incredible ability.
But, with great power comes a critical warning. The very first choice is permanent. Whatever Ramu puts in that basket is what's going to be multiplied forever. He has to choose wisely, and he has to do it without greed.
So Ramu gets home, not with extra wages, but with a magical basket. He's holding an incredible opportunity, but he's also facing this really difficult, life-altering choice.
After talking it over with his wife, Ramu makes a really thoughtful decision. He resists the temptation to go for gold or jewels. Instead, he chooses a piece of valuable sandalwood. It's a resource he can use to build an honest, respectable business right from the ground up.
He places that one single piece of wood into the basket, and just like the genie promised, it magically fills to the brim with countless sandalwood logs. He literally has an endless supply now.
The very next day, instead of going back to work for the Seth, Ramu goes to the market. He sells the high-quality sandalwood, and he sells it at fair prices. His honesty pays off, and he quickly earns more than enough to pay the school fees and secure his family's future.
And this brings us to the real test of his character. He's escaped poverty, he's free from that greedy Seth. So the question is, does he keep this fortune all to himself, or does he remember where he came from?
And his choice, well, it reveals the story's ultimate message about what wealth really means, and about that karmic cycle of giving back.
Instead of just hoarding his newfound wealth, Ramu's first thought is of his fellow woodcutters, who are still suffering under the Seth. He decides he's going to share his good fortune, inviting them all to join his new, honest business.
And here, you can just see the two paths of karma laid out so clearly. Ramu's honesty and generosity, it creates prosperity and community. Seth Lalchan's greed and deceit, it just leads to his own isolation and loss. You see, one path builds things up and the other one just destroys. And this really reveals the core insight of the whole story. Ramu's true reward wasn't actually the magical basket itself, but the ability to use his good fortune to lift up his entire community. The fruit of his good karma wasn't just wealth, it was shared prosperity.
You know, the story illustrates such a profound truth. Our actions, they're like seeds, and they will eventually bear fruit. Good deeds multiply, just like the sandalwood in the basket, and it leaves us all with a simple but really powerful question to think about. What seeds are you planting today for the harvest of tomorrow?